Buff Nation?
Squad? Question mark?
Let's go.
What's good, bro?
What is up? I guess we lost Jake in the 1 minute that it took us to start this show. But I think he's coming back.
Not locked in.
No, incredibly not locked in. There he is.
Hello?
Hey.
Hey, what's up, Jake?
I can't hear you guys.
Oh my God.
I'll be right back. Hold on.
That's rich. Well, while we wait for Jake, I have a statement to read off. Now, Scott, I don't know if you're familiar with this rumor that was started on our show, but there was a rumor that was started on our show. I can't remember by who, that the Riverwalk in San Antonio is underground. And I just, for the life of me, can't remember who said that. But
it's evading my memory too, but I do know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, so I decided to come out to San Antonio just to see, like, is the Riverwalk underground? And it turns out it is below the street.
Okay.
But it is certainly not underground, and there's a lot of, like, open air that looks right up to the sky. So I don't know what was happening to the person who said that the last time that they were in San Antonio. I'm just guessing there was, like, far too many Coors Lights consumed. Or the only other thing I can think of is that it was really, like, overcast the entire time or something, which made it feel darker than it normally is, because I spent the whole day out there and it was, like, beautiful. I might have even got a little sun walking the river. Yeah, so jokes aside, I would like to formally rescind that statement. Yeah,
I can't remember exactly. Like you, I can't remember exactly who said that, but the funniest part about that was how confident whoever that person was that it was truly an underground city. Like they were ready to die about that opinion that it was underground. But I mean, hey, we live and we learn, you know?
The other thing I was thinking is, like, did we, like, go out so late every night that I just, like, slept through the day, and then every time I went outside it was nighttime? I don't know. It's the Riverwalk, decidedly not underground.
Damn.
I'm sorry to fans of underground cities that I let down, and who may have traveled to San Antonio in hopes of seeing something.
I'm good.
That's some A1 reporting, brother.
For real.
Thank you. Yeah, that's journalism.
Big J.
Love it. Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened. I just I lost y'all at the beginning again.
I feel like that's happened, like, several times.
Yeah, I've got issues that I need to work out. But what's up? How you doing?
Not much, man. I told you guys this before we went live. It is absolutely beautiful here. I don't know. It was one of those things where, like, my family celebrated Christmas last night, and, like, that's what I was thinking about all weekend, and, like, getting gifts and all that stuff. And I hadn't really, like, thought about it. So I didn't even check the weather here until, like, 10 minutes before I left. And it's like 75, 75, 80, 80, 75, 75, all the days that we're here.
Oh, wow.
So I, like, scrambled to put some shorts in my bag, and thank God I did, because it is not pants weather out here. It's absolutely beautiful.
Let's go. That's some of the best news that you could have possibly shared with us today.
For real.
Yeah. For
the
real.
Sun out too?
Sun is out. I don't know if you guys can see. It's probably going to be overexposed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually,
looks kind of dreamy out there. Oh, wow.
Okay.
That boy in the penthouse with it.
He is. Presidential suite.
Bro, I think I was legitimately the first person to check in that signed up for the media hotel. And so they just gave me, like, the best available room for the media.
Crazy.
There's no one else here.
Legend. Well, I know Miss Ty put in work at the team hotel, and it probably looks insane right now.
It's so cool. I don't know if you saw my tweet that shared some of the images. It's unbelievable. Mama T went absolutely crazy, and, like, I saw on her Instagram, like, videos of her, like, hand applying the decals into like the elevators and everything. She did an incredible job. And then right across from me, or from our hotel, is I think like the main fan hotel, because like there's the team hotel and then there's the main like fan hotel, and they also have stuff like on the pillars there with the I Believe on it, the finish. It's really, really cool. So yeah, it's been a cool day here. It's been nice to like kind of get my bearings, get my feet under me here. Coach Prime is set to talk later, so I'll be on the scene, hopefully bringing you guys video to the YouTube channel. What else? I caught a stray from Coach Prime.
Oh no!
When they got on their private like custom jet that they were riding out here, he said if we take care of business, we're going to be taking Southwest back.
Yep.
And I took Southwest here, and so that hit different.
That's
Yeah,
all
the
right.
plane is crazy though.
It is.
It really is. One last thing. Well, I don't know if you guys have any other questions, but I got these Ray-Bans for Christmas that are like Meta enabled. With like AI, bro, these things are insane. I was literally just walking around San Antonio, and you can just look at something and go, "Hey, Meta, what is that?" And it'll just be like, "Oh, that is the like friendship flame, a statue that was given as a gift to like represent friendship between U.S. and Mexico."
It's just playing on the speaker.
Yes, the speakers go into your ear, and so you can listen to music too, just like walking around. And I love these things because I don't like having my headphones in public. I don't I feel like I can't hear my surroundings. I feel like trapped. I don't know. It's weird. So these, like, you can listen to music right through the sunglasses with nothing in your ear. So you're like hearing the music perfectly, but you can also hear everything going on around you. Bro, these things are crazy. I didn't even know they really existed until I put them on this morning.
No idea. The future is kind of scary, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
It really is. I was gonna say, if you find a BYU's practice facility, you should test them out there and see what capabilities you can bring with them.
Bro, that is genius. I got to get on my Connor Stallion shit.
There you go. Yes, sir.
Oh my God. So yeah, that's been fun. I was honestly, you can also record video and take pictures with it. I was kind of considering like trying to live stream Coach Prime's presser later onto my Instagram with it.
That'd be dope.
Hell yeah.
I don't know how I haven't heard of these things before. That's crazy.
I know. They kind of like flew under the radar.
Well, didn't Kenny have something like that? Our driver?
I think his were just VR glasses.
Yeah, he just had
okay.
the headset, I think.
But yeah, it's actually pretty weird. Like you could look at a plant and be like, what kind of plant is this? And it'll tell you. Like, it really does feel like being in like what we thought would be like, 2090.
I love it. Well, nice to hear that the future's doing pretty well for you, I guess.
Future's here.
Let's go. That's the thumbnail today. That's what we're talking about.
Hell yeah.
Well, we're going to talk transfers, the 2 new transfers, guys. I mean, do you have anything else? You want to talk Joseph Williams and the Texas A&M offensive lineman?
Yeah, let me just start by saying my favorite part about Joseph Williams, aside from the fact that he's incredibly talented, is he is now hated by Utah fans, which makes me like him even more. But this dude, I mean, it's so funny because we've gone back and forth with like the fan base on do they need wide receivers, do they not need wide receivers, and like watching Quentin Gibson go insane this weekend was really awesome just in terms of what we have coming in at the position. But Joseph Williams, I think, was a legitimate need to bring in a guy who's experienced, who's done it at the collegiate level, had 3 games of over 100 yards with a touchdown this year. So, while the numbers don't necessarily blow you away with like 558 yards or whatever it is, those 3 games over 100 yards shows that like he can really take over and he has that ability. So super excited for him. And I do think adds that level of experience. You'd still probably love to get Kevin Concepcion, but helped out in that regard of just having another guy who's done it at this level.
Yeah, that's where I was going to ask. Like, I'm curious your guys' thoughts. I know there will be additions to this receiver room before the 2025 season starts, but hypothetically, if this was the receiver room for week 1, scale of 1 to 10, how pleased would you be? Would each of you be with that room right now?
8-ish. I mean, I'm still pretty confident. It's just you don't have that top end experience, which, I mean, even Concepcion, he's only 1 year older than Joseph Williams.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, you're just going to have to rely on the youth that you have coming in anyway. So that's just going to be the reality of next year's receiving core.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go 8.4.
Nice
I
score.
feel good. I feel good about it. And honestly, Joseph Williams is similar to Omarion Miller, right? It's like both of them have shown the ability to absolutely go off in a game at this level, and that's exciting. I think, honestly, if you were to add KC, it would get it up towards like a 9.7, 9.8. So I like what they're doing, and I also think, like, I put this out on Twitter, I legitimately think the Buffs got the steal of the entire 2025 recruiting class in Quentin Gibson. And obviously he was a late bloomer, had 0 stars coming into this season. So the fact that he has 3 now is even like an upgrade from where they had him, just a few months ago. But I think this dude legitimately has 5-star talent, and at the very, very least should already be considered a 4-star. But forget all that. Like, I don't care about the star. He's a Buff. And he's going to come in and make plays for this team immediately. Like, that's just one of those guys. It's funny because some people are saying he reminds them of Jimmy. Some people are saying that he reminds them of LeJontay. I almost think he's like a perfect mix of the two. He has some of the, he's great catching the football. The way that LeJontay has made some clutch catches for that team, one-handed, diving, all of it. And then when he hits full stride, it reminds me of Jimmy, just with how compact and just smooth his running motion is. And the first person I think I ever said when he committed, or before he even committed, when he first became a target, first name that came to my mind was DeAnthony Thomas. So all of these names are guys who are incredibly electric and bring a lot to the field. I think that's a guy who's going to come in and play very, very early.
Yeah, I like where this receiver room is a lot, especially with guys like Quentin Gibson, who was just named the 2024 Max Preps Texas High School Football Player of the Year. That typically means you can ball a little bit. And I just also like that there's youth in that room to grow with Juju. I feel like a lot of the reason that you brought in a Will, you brought in a LeJontay last year was because those guys were kind of on the same kind of mental wavelength as Shedeur Sanders, is kind of just looking at this like our last kind of shebang, so to speak, before the NFL. But when you're turning the page, most likely to a freshman quarterback, maybe not in 2025, but for sure the year after, you want young guys who, again, kind of think the same, can kind of grow together in meetings. And, I just go read a tweet, the Buffs post today about, C and Juju sitting on the plane, down to Texas together. And that little stuff, means something. When you can build that camaraderie and, build that rapport together with your linemen, with your receivers, at a time right now where it's not really high stakes, right? You're going into a bowl game. The 2025 season is still months away. I really like where this room is headed, especially in relation to, Juju's development for sure.
No, that's a good point, Scott, because I think we have focused a lot on we got to bring in more vets because we're seeing all these older guys move on. But Coach Prime does kind of seem to do that. He likes to have guys on the same page. And I mean, you mentioned it, Ryan. I mean, guys like Omarion Miller, you're a vet now. This is your 3rd season now coming into Colorado. Isaiah Harge, guys like those who have been in the culture, maybe not have seen the field that much the last few years. You already know what's expected of you. It's up to you to kind of set the standard, even though, you haven't really proven yourself in games in the Big 12 on the field yet.
And I would say too, a lot of people who are saying I want a proven, veteran, experienced receiver to be added. I feel like receiver is probably one of, if not the easiest position in football to kind of acclimate from the high school to college level. We see freshman receivers be able to ball right away when they touch down, on the college, campus. And it's because if you know how to run routes, if you know how to get open, if you know how to play off of leverage and you can catch the football, if you have hands and obviously ability after the catch, that stuff is going to be able to translate. You don't have to be in your 3rd, 4th year of college football for those skills to translate. And that's also why I feel like, this young receiving group isn't, really a problem if you don't have that kind of proven LaShante Wester, Will Shepherd type, already in the fold.
And one thing I'll say about that is one of the best parts of having a lot of experience is having experience with your quarterback.
Yes.
But no one's going to have that. No matter who the starting quarterback is, you're not going to have a guy who has a lot of experience with him. So they're going to be developing chemistry together on the fly. And everyone is going to kind of start on an even plane here, trying to build and grow their relationship with Juju or potentially Caden Salter.
Yeah, good points. All right, we got to take a break. Are you going to stick around, RK?
I'm going to get ready to head over to the team hotel. I'm not exactly sure when they're going to arrive. I have a decent idea, but I want to make sure it's like a 10-minute walk from here. I want to make sure I'm on the scene to bring the people what Coach Prime has to say.
All righty, man. Well, we'll talk to you tomorrow then. We'll have you on tomorrow and get the latest from San Antonio.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, man. All right, we'll see you soon, brother.
Have fun to see you guys.
All righty, guys. Let's take our first break. Shout out to the homies over at Game Time. Shout out Game Time. I've heard that, when the bowl games happen, they always have like a certain allotment of tickets, or whatever for fans and all that. CUs have pretty much already gone. So if you haven't gotten those, make sure you get on it over at Game Time. Going to be one of the only ways you can get in to watch this team for the last time in its current makeup in the Alamo Bowl. Not just college football, NFL's in full swing, NBA, NHL, all that good stuff, concerts, events. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account. Use the promo code BUFFS, BUFFS, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Use promo code BUFFS, BUFFS. Download Game Time today. What time is it, Scotty?
Game Time.
Yes, sir. Also, shout out to our friends over at Empire Today. We are not in the DNVR, the Toyota Lounge, I should say, today, with that beautiful new flooring that we have in there. We're actually not going to be back there for a minute. Have you realized that yet, Scotty? At least me.
It's wild, bro. So, time is really flying.
Time is flying. It's going crazy. And maybe you forget to take care of your floors when all that time is flying. So hit up our friends over at Empire Today. Whether it's your home or business, if you need a new floor, they're your one-stop shop for all of that. You can use their virtual floor designer to see exactly what fits your space and what options you have available. And you can schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when you use the promo code DNVR. Some restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/DNVR for details. All right, Scotty. Thank you. So, yeah, just on Joseph Williams, only 30 receptions, 588 yards, but 8 touchdowns last year. Was the American Conference Freshman of the Year. His best game came in a loss to East Carolina. Tulsa lost 38-31, but Williams had 5 catches for 158 and 3 tuds. He's an explosive player, man. When you look at his, body and all that, 6'2", almost 200 pounds. Like, we talk about these veteran receivers, and I think that's a lot of what you want with that is the maturity just in terms of, how much they've grown to be like physically dominant on the field. That's what you're really looking for when we're talking about that. He's kind of already got that, though.
Hell yeah, man. Again, you don't win Conference Freshman of the Year in the ACC, just by accident. Like, this dude can really play. And to me, I just love his ability to go up in sky and get the ball. Like, a lot of times when you're 6'2", and plus you can kind of rely on your size and body catch and wait for the ball to come down to you. But on a handful of occasions on his film, he goes up and high points the football. And that's going to be huge, particularly in the red zone, particularly for a quarterback like Julian Lewis, who throws with precision. And again, those contested catching situations are really what this guy is really elite at. And again, I think he's also a guy, he looks like, kind of your outside Will Shepherd type extra receiver. But again, I feel like he's another guy who can be moved all around over the field. You can throw him screens, you can throw him quick routes, and he can make something happen after the play. So this is a really, really talented add to this receiver room for sure.
And not to mention a flip from Utah, as RK said. I mean, anytime you get a flip in conference, that's just a massive dub, either way you look at it. And then today, Aki Ogunbiyi. Do you have any thoughts?
Nope, I'm going with that. That sounds it, bro. Hell yeah, good stuff.
Former Texas A&M offensive lineman Aki Ogunbiyi has committed to Colorado. I think he signed today, actually, too. So he's already fully on board.
Yep.
1 year of eligibility remaining. A guy who has kind of been through a lot in his time at Texas A&M. Joined a member of the 2020 recruiting class, was a 4-star player, top 300 player in that recruiting class. Ends up starting, I think, 4 games in 2020. The weird COVID season, I think the SEC played damn near a full slate, 8 or 10 games that year. And he played in 8 of those games. The next year, this is 2021. He didn't play too much that COVID year. 2021 comes in with the 4 starts. 2022 gets 4 more starts, but then, kind of goes through injuries. Has really struggled to see the field since then because of injuries, changing positions. Listed as a tackle now. If anything, this is just a solid depth piece. I mean, straight from the SEC with starter experience for Colorado.
He's listed as a tackle now?
He was listed as a tackle. I can't remember. 247 says OG, but that's his.
Yeah, I know he came out of high school as a guard, and I think he played guard at A&M. But that's the only reason I asked is because if he can play tackle too, I mean that's kind of worth it right there, a versatile guy. Because obviously he can play guard 6'4", 330, but if he can swing out and play tackle as well, that's interesting.
Yeah, so he started out at left guard in 2022. He rotated in at left tackle. And that's when he fell due to injury. So, I mean, he's got the size, right? What he's listed as 6'4", 315 right now.
Yeah, I see on that side they had him at 330. But yeah, that's another big body, man. People have been clamoring for those interior offensive linemen, guys who can play multiple spots. This is a good, at worst, a depth add. You know what I'm saying? Again, experienced guy, like you mentioned, at 23 career games, I think 8 career starts. So he's been thrown into the fire in the SEC in particular. He's experienced. Again, he's coming here with 1 year of eligibility. So what's on his mind is to see the field and, make an impact before, hopefully he gets to the next level. But this one kind of came out of left field too, because I feel like there wasn't, much, if any, reporting about, this young man either visiting or there being interest. So, kind of kudos to the staff for kind of keeping this one, down low until, and it pops up today that he's signed already. So, I like this.
A few other guys in the portal. Max Harris, Preston Max Harris, I think is what his name is on Twitter, but he goes by Max, just all the stats I've seen. Former linebacker, played at UL Monroe in 23, had a good season then, entered the portal, went to Texas State this last year. Roster page already deleted off of Texas State. I can't tell you how many games started or played right now, but the stats here say he played in 12 games this year, 44 tackles, 3 TFLs, half a sack, 1 forced fumble. He was offered this weekend by Colorado. So keep an eye out for him. And then Tafik Byard, someone we've talked about, was on a visit this weekend. The former USF safety was a 2023 3-star recruit. He came in here on a visit. So we'll see. I mean, he was posting from the visit and all that stuff. I'm trying to look up stats this last year. I don't have them right now.
Let's go back to Preston Max Harris for a second because I do got some of those stats. He started 11 games for Texas State this fall in 2024, almost 400 defensive snaps. A productive guy, 123 tackles over the last 2 seasons, 2 forced fumbles as a true sophomore and junior. And he also had offers from Memphis and Western Michigan out of the portal before he committed to Colorado here. But this is another position of need, right? You gotta add talented, experienced, productive guys to that linebacker spot. When Kyle Green in the portal head to Alabama, I don't know if we talk about that. Actually, him coming to Alabama, good for him. But obviously, Levante Bentley on his last game here this weekend as well as a Buff. So this linebacker room had to be added to, and Harris, again, at the very least, has the experience and the production that Coach Hart, I'm sure, is looking for.
Yeah, he's deciding between Colorado, LSU, Vandy. You're talking about the linebacker.
Yeah, I was just talking about Harris, but Byard, between Colorado, LSU, that'd be a good get, man. I was watching a little bit of film on him, and he's kind of that Cameron Stillman Craig, where he's playing from the safety spot close to the line of scrimmage, very much involved in run support in the run game. And again, another experienced guy. I think he's been a starter the last couple of seasons for USF. And again, LSU wants him. Vandy, who's had a really good actually transfer portal kind of phase here since the season ended. Byard, and obviously he's how is he related to Chicago Bear legend Kevin Byard? Is that his cousin?
It says
that's
here
his older
brother.
Yeah, younger brother of an all-pro safety. So obviously the genes are high within the Byard family, but Byard would obviously be a dope ad as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, Coach Prime and this staff has shown that, bloodlines, they do matter. Like, if you actually track that stuff, like, there's a strong correlation where if you have, like, an NFL pedigree, whether it's father, cousin, uncle, whatever it is, like, for whatever reason, that just helps these guys translate. So that's one to look out for.
And I feel like it's, too, especially in this case, like, if you watch your older brother kind of, go through the ranks, I think Kevin Byard, I don't know why I brought this up, but I think he went to Texas. But either way, like you see, somebody as close to you as your older brother kind of go through the college football process, become like a really good player in the NFL. Like you build and pick up habits that can help you be great in your own career. And I'm sure that's what's happening with the Byard family.
Yes, sir. Okay, to the headline. The future is now, bro.
Oh, yeah.
It's been an exciting last, week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks for Colorado football. Shoot, last 2 years. But anyways, since these guys have shown up on campus, they've already made like a significant impact. You've seen, if you watch well off, Mantrez Walker's out there. He's making plays. You see Chauncey Gooden, out there talking his stuff, saying 5-4 is here. And then Alexander McPherson. Getting, dapped up by the whole defense coming off the field. He makes a big play. Not to mention Julian Lewis, just the time spent with Shedeur. I mean, Neely and a bunch of people at practice yesterday putting out, the first images of Juju in those, gold non-contact jerseys standing next to Shedeur. It's just an exciting time, but they're already, making impacts, making waves.
Most definitely, bro. And, I'll start with Chauncey, who I believe a couple weeks ago when we kind of did our freshman superlatives, he was the guy who I said either that he has the best chance of being a freshman All-American or just being a starter as a freshman because, first off, the young man just has all the physical tools you're looking for in a college football offensive lineman. I don't have his measurables in front of me, but I know it's 6'4", 300 plus, and 300 is probably on the light side. I'm sure he's much heavier, much stronger than that for sure. This is a guy, again, who was coached in high school for a year by, a Hall of Fame center in Kevin Mawai. He's been coached the right way. He has been brought up the right way, both as a young man, as a football player. And again, he's going to be able to make an impact right away on that offensive line, in my opinion, because he has the mental makeup. He's already here now, before January is even started. So he's going to have a full winter, a full spring, a full fall camp to get acclimated to college football. And then with McPherson, I'm just not surprised he's making an early impact. Again, we were talking about, I believe we were watching his film or, again, doing the superlatives. Like I said that the coaches are going to be impressed by how technically sound he already is. And we saw when we were watching his film, like I'll never forget that dip move he made, at the line of scrimmage to get a tackle for loss. I mean, that's like polished stuff. Like when you've been taught and coached the right way, which obviously he has been at IMG, which is a football factory, but like I said, I knew that those coaches would be impressed and that his, polished technique and skill would translate right away. So as a freshman, and we're seeing it. And obviously Trez is up here, man. He's never going to be the biggest. And this is cliche, right? He's never going to be the biggest or the fastest or even the hardest hitting, but he is always in the right spot. And that, particularly at the linebacker spot, is going to help you be productive.
Well said, man. Let's touch back on the rest of this stuff and some more on the other side of this break. Shout out to our homies that live well. Scotty's living well. I'm living well. It's bowl week. How are you not living well right now? It's Christmas week. There's just a lot of good stuff, a lot of good vibes in the air right now. And head on over to your local Live Well. There's 25 of them out here in Colorado. You really can't go anywhere without seeing Live Well out here in Colorado. They're everywhere. And they're just one of the best local dispensaries out there. Always super helpful. I mean, they know their stuff, and they offer a price match guarantee, ensuring you get the best value on local competitors' prices on eligible products. Go ahead, put in an order online. Super fast, super easy. When you show up, just show them your ID, pay, you're out the door. I mean, it's seriously a matter of minutes. So visit livewell.com, put in a to-go order, or mention the code DNVR25 when you're in-store, and you'll receive 25% off one regular priced item. Some restrictions apply. Yeah. And then also shout out to the homies over at Bet365. Never Ordinary. My favorite book for betting on football. Because of those early money line payouts, your team gets up 17 points or more. Boom, automatically cashes out on the money line. Doesn't matter if the other team comes back and wins. You're all set over at Bet365. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5. All you got to do, put a bet of $5 on anything that cashes soon. Because as soon as that bet clears, you'll get $150 in bonus bets right into your account. And you can use those however you want. If you want to make $151 bets, go ahead. If you want to put it all on one big, Buffs to win the national championship next year, whatever it is, you can do that as well. Just sign up, use the code DNVR365, deposit $10, then place a bet of $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. Whatever the moment, never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, so back on these young guys. I love what you said about Chauncey, and he's already impressing, the players that he's with too. I mean, Flapjack had that tweet, saying Chauncey Gooden, like, he's looking scary out there already. And that's another guy too, a younger guy who didn't really see the field this year, who we just heard a lot of from practice, or a lot about at practice this last year, just what he was able to show. So we had this commitment today from the A&M guy, but I really do think I feel good about where this offensive line is without even really, hammering the transfer portal, just with what the staff has done over the last 2 seasons and bringing them depth, high quality depth. And now these freshmen coming in, some guys are going to, I think, surprise and just be really impactful on that offensive line this season.
Yeah, they low-key really did some work in the offensive line in the portal this last year. You know what I'm saying? Again, adding guys who necessarily weren't starters, but quality young depth. And again, guys like Flapjack immediately come to mind. And that's how you got to start building this thing out when you're trying to compete with the big dogs of college football. Like, yeah, it's okay to get a 1-year rental, a productive, proven guy, but you got to, again, be able to grow and develop young talent. And that's where I think we're seeing this offensive line. Like, I think there's been 2 ads out of the transfer portal, and I don't really think many people are tripping about that being a low number, because pretty much everybody is coming back, on that offensive line, particularly your best offensive lineman, who's going to be a true sophomore next year in Jordan Seaton. You got 2 freshman All-Americans coming back in Seaton and Cash Cleveland. So again, that offensive line, man, is, I want to say you might look at it at some point next season as one of the stronger rooms on the team, right? Again, with the young talent, with the depth. And that's a far cry from where this program or this team was 2 years ago.
It really is. And then you guys already brought him up when Arcade was on. But Quentin Gibson, I mean, holy cow, man. They had the Texas 6A state title game on Saturday, and he goes out there, basically wins them the game. He's the MVP of the entire game, has 7 catches, 181 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Again, that speed is it's a blur on the field. The way he's able to just weave through the defense too, he erases angles. And then as a total this year, 93 receptions, 2,012 yards, 39 touchdowns, 39, almost 40 touchdowns in a single season.
Man. And I got a homie who stayed down in Dallas right now, and he caught a couple of North Carolina's games this year, and he was telling me, he was like, yeah, Colorado got them one for sure, because he saw him in person a couple of times this year, and dude is just absolutely electric. I mean, 2,000 yards, damn near 40 receiving touchdowns in a season at that level of high school football in the state of Texas is absolutely unreal. Like, this kid is a future superstar. I mean, it really makes you think about what the hell these recruiting services really be doing. How does he begin the season? I even give him benefit of the doubt. Maybe you didn't know he was capable of this before the season started. But once you have a full season of film and production to judge somebody off of, I don't understand how he's not at the very least a 4-star on every damn recruiting site. And again, if you want to point to size, that's just a lazy take, because we've seen countless players, particularly at that receiver position, thrive at the college level in the NFL at a less than ideal size. So this is probably one of my favorite players I'm looking forward to. And again, last year I was very high on DeJounte West the rest of the season. He's the player I'm most looking forward to watching in 2024. And although Quentin isn't a transfer, obviously he's a high school signee, but he's quickly becoming that guy for me in 2025. I just can't wait to see him officially get out here and start catching passes from Cade and Juju and the rest of the crew.
Definitely, man. I mean, as RK mentioned too earlier in the show, he was a late bloomer. He really didn't blow up until this year, so that obviously has something to do with it. But you go back, and I'm looking here at Zachariah Branch at his recruiting page, right? And I don't have his senior stats, but as a junior at Bishop Gorman, which is, again, one of the best high school programs in the country out there in Las Vegas, Nevada, won the state title there for them. 48 receptions, just over 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns. Quentin Gibson did what he did in Texas 6A football with damn near the same specs. Zachariah Branch coming out of high school was 5'10", 175. Quentin Gibson's listed at 5'8", 165. And this was a 5-star, top 7th overall recruit in the 2023 recruiting class.
That's crazy. And again, it's not like this kid is from Idaho. You know what I'm saying? He in Texas. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like playing, I believe, is the highest classification in the state, I believe, right? So it's like there really is no justification, but quickly people are going to forget that man was ever a 3-star because they're going to see him on a college football field and be like, who the hell is that? And it's the gravity, too, because I feel like the gravity that comes with a player as explosive as he is, like, he commands attention. Like, he commands, once he gets going, he's going to command multiple defenders, with their attention allocated towards him. So he's going to open up, plays and opportunities for other guys in that receiver room once he really gets acclimated into the flow of things. And that's huge.
And then last thing really on this, again, we already kind of touched on it, but, just Julian and how he's been embraced by the team already. I just can't help but feel like this guy is just going to thrive in this role as the quarterback and leader of the Colorado Buffaloes for the next 3 to 4 years. How Shedeur's embraced him, but just, Seton, watching Cam Stone and Craig talk to him on the floor at the basketball game, which we'll get to as well. This guy, this is like Duke's put it this way. It's like a Travis Hunter level commitment. This is a program changing level commitment that the Buffs got in Julian Lewis. And you can just tell by how he's already been received by the team and the fan base that this guy really is something special.
It's because they know within that locker room that that's the guy that's going to get where they want to go. Because if you don't have that position locked down with a star, and that's what Julian is. If you don't have the position locked down with the star in today's college football, it's going to be hard for you to compete. Again, just look at, some of these playoff teams, for the exception of maybe a couple, like all these guys, if they aren't already looked at as college football stars, like they were highly recruited 4 and 5 stars coming out of high school. And again, when you are able to build the trenches around a guy like that, you're able to, supply him with weapons at receiver and tight end and put a staunch defense led by Robert Livingston on the other side of him. Like you're cooking with gas. And again, Juju, I just feel like is the perfect leader for this kind of era of Colorado football. And I don't really know how to explain it other than that. Like if you know, and that team, his teammates know that he's him.
Yep. And then Travis and Shedeur just at the basketball game on Saturday. We've seen Travis hoop before. He's gone to the rec center and he's had, he's thrown up these dunks and stuff. He's done all this. But just seeing him at the CU Event Center, Shedeur's throwing him lobs and all this stuff. It just kind of emphasizes how special of a time this is at Colorado and how special these two are, because I don't even know if there's any other 2 players who could go in and really take over a university and their sports culture like these two have.
Bro, those 2 young men right there have transcended football. Like they are bigger than football for multiple reasons. And yeah, man, it's like days like that where it's like, I'm sure if you're a student at CU, currently who is at that game, like that's something you're going to tell your kids and grandchildren about. Like before Travis and Shedeur went to the NFL, they were at the CU Event Center ducking free. And like that's that's stuff that we'll always remember, and people who were there will always remember. And again, it speaks to them as individuals because they didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? They could have easily, I'm sure they were approached with the idea, but they could have easily been like, nah, I got a lot going on right now. We getting ready for a bowl game, we getting ready for the draft, et cetera, et cetera. But both of them, from day one have been more than willing to ingratiate themselves within the Boulder community, within the Colorado Buffaloes community. And that kind of really above all else is what, to me, makes them, legends, in this town, in this state. That was just another reminder of it this weekend.
Absolutely. If you had to guess, if Travis played basketball, would he be like top 20 player in the country? Like, I mean, seriously, good Lord. The guy is, I think Big Teasy mentioned it. He's hitting, half court, non-looking, like just chucks from the half court line.
Even Shedeur is like, bruh.
Yeah.
What are you? Like, for real, like, because this is not human stuff. And yeah, I mean, I feel like he would. I don't know how he couldn't start or be one of the best players on pretty much every college basketball team in the country. He would certainly be one of the best players, if not the best player on the Buffs. Mm-hmm. But I mean, yeah, dude, if he was able to lock in for, say, a month, even, like, I feel like he would be more than capable of holding his own on a basketball court of some really good players.
The Buffs probably could have gave him at least 7 minutes on Saturday night.
He would have made some shake for sure.
He would have been the story of the game.
No,
that's funny. All right, let's take our last break, and then I want to talk about the CFP, all this nonsense that's been going around online. Because my God, I thought it was bad after the Friday game. It's gotten even worse.
Yeah.
We'll get to it here, though. Shout out to our good homies over at Breck Brew. Been with us since the beginning. I'm going back to Utah for Christmas here tonight. And shout out to Breck Brew because they actually are everywhere. They're out in Utah. So I can actually get, decent brews out there in Utah. No shots fired at the Utah brewing scene, but it's just different out here in Colorado. What can I say? Come to the DNVR bar. Crush some Breck brews with us, or go to that beautiful farmhouse. That place is awesome. They got bomb food there as well. If you're ever making a trip to Denver and you have a little extra time, head down to Littleton and check out the Breck farmhouse. But check out all their beers with the beer locator at www.breckbrew.com to find a brew near you. Also, Circle K. The homies at Circle K who literally kept us on the road, fueled up, and ready to go on the Great American Stampede. Your one-stop shop for everything wherever you're headed, whether it's gas, snacks, drinks. They've got you covered. Join the Inner Circle. All you need is your email and phone number to be fully enrolled. Download the app, and you're able to sign up. You get 25 cents off a gallon of gas on your first 5 fill-ups. You get every 5th item free on Polar Pops, drinks, rollers, all kinds of good stuff there. So download the Circle K app. Sign up for the Inner Circle today for exclusive offers. New offers, purchase clubs, and sweepstakes are uploaded weekly. All right, Scotty. What is going on with the CFP discourse and nonsense? Like, do people even enjoy this sport? Because, all I've heard about for the last 10 years was, we got to expand the playoff. We got to expand the playoff. Playoff finally gets expanded. And the reason why I think the playoff was expanded was to give other teams a chance, right? So It's not Alabama versus Georgia versus Ohio State versus Clemson versus Oregon, the same rotation of 7-8 teams, whatever it is all the time. We actually get new teams in there. We have these on-campus games, which are lit. They end up being blowouts, though, for the home teams. And all of a sudden, people are like, do we even really need to expand the playoff? What is Indiana doing here? What are all these teams doing here? Do you like the sport?
They don't, bro. They only like the sport when their team is playing for high stakes. And I feel like that's really what it comes down to. Like, you see a team get blown out and people's first reaction is, see, I told you that didn't belong. And I feel like it's easy to be Monday morning quarterback, right? It's easy to have the right perspective in retrospect. But I've heard people make this statement, like, we've seen blowouts in playoff games for the last year. We've seen blowouts in national championship games. Like, we've seen blowouts in the Super Bowl. Like, it happens. Like, you try to create the best matchups and put the best, 12 teams in the playoff. But, sometimes a team has the better game plan, right? Sometimes a team is just not the right matchup for another team. And I think that's kind of what we saw this weekend. And also, too, people got to remember, this is the first year of it. Yes. Like, if you expected it to be perfect, then you just weren't being realistic about it. And again, I have my gripes about it, right? I on Saturday, I was like, why do we really need to watch Indiana and Notre Dame play for a chance at national championship? These aren't national championship contenders. And I feel like if people just realize that this is really more about money than anything, then I think they'll be a lot better off. People might not be better off because that might piss some people off, but it's just the truth of the matter. And I think as we see this thing, kind of evolve and get better over the years, I think we'll get a better product. But again, the first round of the first ever 12-team playoff was a dud. I mean, I don't think that's something that nobody saw coming.
I mean, you're right on so many fronts there. First off, I mean, yes, this is the first year, and I think it's a lot of kind of trial and error, especially for the committee, just to figure things out. But something I've been harping on, conference realignment kind of just screwed all this. It made schedules imbalanced. Yes. There's no real direct way to compare Indiana to Notre Dame before they actually get on the field. You know what I mean? So no one even knows what's going to happen there. And then, with the on-campus games, that's college football, right? You go to these places and you see these different fan bases just turned up, ready just for, whether it's a playoff game or a game in September that's a non-conference game. That's part of the beauty of college football. So the people who are like, oh, we got to take these away from campuses, we got to play them in neutral site games. We're just completely forgetting the whole point of what we're doing here with college football, I think. And to your point about the blowouts and all that, I mean, blowouts, as you mentioned, happen in everything. Last year, the Nuggets swept the Lakers in the first round, I think, of the NBA playoff. What did that have to do with the NBA finals? None of them made it to the conference to the finals. So it's what is the point of that? This happens in every sport. Every NFL playoffs, there's always some blowouts and stuff, and no one loses their mind then. I just don't know. It drives me crazy how it's college football, and you get these blowouts, things that happen in every other sport, and people just lose their minds.
I think your point about conference realignment is a great one, and one that people may not be thinking about, because when you got these 18 damn leagues, you know what I'm saying? A team like Indiana can somehow avoid pretty much all the good teams in that conference, and you look up at the end of the season, they're 11-1, and there's a group of people who be like, you got to play who's on the schedule. You're 11-1, and you get comments, like Kirk Herbstreit. Did you hear what Kirk said? I believe after the Ohio State.
Thank you for bringing this up.
Where he's like, committee members need to stop. Pretty much, I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, committee members need to stop putting everything in wins, which is kind of a crazy statement on its face. But I get what he's saying, because it's not all 11, 10, 12 win teams are created equally. And we're seeing that. We saw that this weekend. Just because you can rack up a lot of wins, you have to look at who you play and who you beat and who you're playing week in and week out. And if you were on the committee, Jake, give me your top three, check marks. What are you looking for? Is it wins? Is it strength of schedule? Is it, losses? What would it be for you?
That's a great question. I do think, your bad losses matter. Even if you're Notre Dame, that NIU loss, the way that just didn't affect their resume really, that drives me insane. I completely
agree, bro. I was saying all season, I'm like, gee, we can't let a team that lost to NIU in the college football playoff. And I'm sure that's probably unfair, and they proved on Friday that they probably deserve to be at least one of the top 12 teams. But I'm with you, man. A loss like that should be, especially at home. Yeah, that should be there should be disqualifying losses, I feel like.
That, and I do think, where you finish in the conference has to matter too. I think you need to potentially even make your conference title game to even be considered for a playoff berth. If not, in the Buffs case, just missing out, you know what I mean, because of tiebreakers or something. So, but again, that goes back to realignment and how the schedules are all messed up. So to the point about Herbstreit, though, that is crazy. what else do you have to evaluate teams on other than their record and who they've played? That's literally everyone's resume. That you can't grab any more data points outside of that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because at that point, if you're not looking at wins, at that point, you're looking at what conference you're in pretty much.
Yes.
And that's kind of where he's going. But honestly, I forget if it was you or RK who came up with the idea of like 12 playoff spots, right? The 4 power conferences, the top 2 finishers in those power 4, that's 8 spots. They get an automatic bid. And then it's pretty much those next 4 spots. Like then you figure out, you look into the top, maybe the top 2 group of 5 teams or something. And then after that, it's the top 2 highest ranked teams or something. Like I feel like that's a really good solution.
That would be my solution, is turn it into give even more structure to the playoff and integrate the conference title games into that, so that there's importance in getting to your title game, but we don't have to have these conversations where it's like, oh, but if SMU loses to Clemson in a blowout, like now nothing matters. You know what I mean? Like
I feel like that's a really easy fix. Like get to your conference championship game and you're in the playoff.
Yes, so that's how I would do it. I guess kind of expand the playoff a bit, have it bleed over into conference title game weekend, and just say, this is like our de facto first round here. Like this is going to affect who gets the first, like you're in, but it's going to affect who gets the bye, seeding, all that stuff. Last point I have, because we talked about Kurt Cignetti on Saturday morning and how he was crazy. Lane Kiffin, if Coach Prime did anything close to what Lane Kiffin was bitching and crying about on Saturday, Colorado, I mean, they might as well cancel the season. Nobody would want to play them. Everyone would complain about, so entitled and, arrogant, blah, 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 blah. Why don't Lane Kiffin just gets to disappear and then just show up and go on a Twitter tirade whenever he wants to again, I guess.
Yeah, man, it just goes. I mean, and it's the same conversation we had on Saturday with Cignetti. It's that them double standards are an MF, bro. Because I personally like Lane Kiffin, but if Coach Prime has gotten in trouble for some tweets, you know what I'm saying? But Lane Kiffin was firing off on Twitter /X over the weekend, multiple times, like taking shots at programs, coaches, pretty much, etc.
Yes.
And again, if that was Prime would never, but if he did. Again, it would be a story bigger than the college football playoff. if y'all out there can fathom that, that's what it would be. Lane Kiffin, again, I personally like him. I think he's hilarious. I wish more coaches would be kind of more out and open like that. But you can if you're Deion Sanders, though. You can't be that outright and forthright.
Yeah, it's crazy, but this weekend just drove me crazy with that. I mean, obviously the games weren't ideal. I don't think anyone wants to sit through 4 games of blowouts in the playoffs, but it just happens, and we're kind of figuring this all out as we go. And I don't know. There's just a lot of very visceral reactions that rub me the wrong way.
Hey, did you see the Kirk and like Shannon Sharp beef apparently?
Yes, dude. That's insane too. What are we doing?
Bro, Shannon was not playing with him, bro. He said, "Hey, say my name one more time, and we all got enough bosses to get me off of you." Yeah, that was crazy though.
Insane, man. All right, let's do questions, super chats, whatever we got. First up, Demetrius says, "Are we sleeping on Caleb Mathis? Will there be competition for numbers?" Look, Caleb is a walk-on receiver who is, grown a lot. I think we've seen a lot from him too, specifically, practices in spring games. And when he comes into the game, I think it was end of last year where Caleb was getting on the field and Shedeur was like looking at it like his direction. So, he's a coach's son. He's got that kind of upbringing, so he knows what to do. Maybe we might be sleeping on him, but this is a very talented receiver room.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really talented room with a lot of guys who either have a lot of high potential or have already shown production at a high level. And it's just, it's tough. I mean, we saw Asad Wasim enter the portal. We saw Jordan O enter the portal. Coach Prime pretty much on both accounts said it's a numbers game. Yeah. You can only have 3 or 4 out there on the field at a time. We can only have 6 or 7, in the rotation for a game plan. And again, when it's a numbers game, like you can recruit that position like the way Coach Prime and Coach Phillips, have over the last year or so. It's going to be a lot of competition. But I will say, I mean, he might have found something late in the season, right? Because didn't he put helmet on football on kickoff? I believe it was at the finale, the Oklahoma State or Utah game.
I think so.
And maybe that's his role moving forward, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
No, and then, I mean, D. Mills with the comment, unfortunately, some people just get recruited over. And as you mentioned, with the staff, with who they are and their ability to, recruit these type of athletes at the, perimeter when it comes to receiver, DB, sometimes you just get recruited over. It just happens in big-time college football.
Yep.
All right. JJ, question for you, Scotty. What do you think about moving London Merritt to linebacker? I think he could be a monster there.
Man, I think that's possible, right? Like he talked about the fact that he loves, although he's kind of more of an edge defensive end, he talked about to Shannon and Ocho that he actually likes playing like that 3 technique over the interior because he's just faster than a center or guard more times than not. And that makes me think he could definitely, move to the second level of defense, that true linebacker spot, because I feel like he has his speed, he has the athleticism. And again, he's been coached up the right way. Like he's technically sound and technically polished. So I feel like he could play really anywhere on that defense, aside from the secondary. And that versatility is something that we know this coaching staff covets. I think London Merritt is going to be someone to watch for sure.
Well said. Perfectly said. Carl asks, where can I find the film of the new commits, the transfers? YouTube. That's the best place. I mean, YouTube used to have full games uploaded. Go ahead.
I was going to say, check out DNVR Sports YouTube, DNVR Buffs of our film breakdowns of all the new commits. I feel
there
like
you go. Yes.
Good spot is anywhere.
Yep. Huddle for high school recruits. And then, like I said, I mean, you used to be able to find, full games of like Tulsa versus whoever on YouTube. They've kind of cracked down on that recently, but there's a lot of stuff out there on there. Claude asks, is Khalil Benson coming back next year? Not sure yet. Don't know. I don't know if Khalil's injured either. Luis, I don't know what's going on with him. Gerardo with the super chat. Prayers for Trav's mental health right now. People aren't letting him enjoy his Heisman moment in bowl game. Can these people get lives, bro?
No.
It's embarrassing to see this stuff. These are grown people talking about this.
Bro, I can't even get on the timeline no more without seeing this foolishness, bro. And the fact that bro felt like he had to deactivate his Instagram just so he didn't have to see all this foolishness and mess on the internet is pretty sad, bro. But you're right, though. The fact that it's grown men and women trying to insert their opinion onto strangers' lives is pretty sick, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to get into all that on our show and stuff, and that's why we haven't talked about it. But yeah, it's unfortunate to see them have to go through that, especially with what Travis had happened to him recently with the Heisman. Like this should be one of the best few week stretches of his life, honestly. And I don't know.
Yeah. People are lame, dog.
East Coast Kev says, so Nakai Hill Green is at Bama, Cordell is at Miami of Ohio, Deion Hayes is at A&M. Let's wish them all much success and get ready to win this bowl game. Salute DNVR. You're the man, East Coast Kev. Thank you, brother.
Shout out, Kev.
Rad says, are y'all doing a tailgate or are you going inside the stadium to watch? We still don't really have clarification on what to expect for the tailgate just yet. We'll put something out, though, on Twitter and say it on the show when we know. Thank you for the super chat, though. East Coast Kev again. All those athletic skills that Travis has, and people were really pitching about him winning the Heisman. I mean, I didn't say anything about it, but did we see Ashton Genty ever go on a basketball court and throw, lobs to himself like that? Have we ever seen him, jump out of the gym like that?
Can't say that I have, man.
It's silly. Big T's in the house.
Big Teasy.
Conflicted on Genty game. Do I root for Penn State to shut him down totally to prove he didn't deserve it, or look out for the small conference? Damn, I haven't even gotten that far yet. Where are you at in terms of that?
I mean, I don't get to prove he didn't deserve it. Like, if you know, you know. Like, I don't think anything he's gonna do, good or bad, talking about SG Genty in this college football playoff, is gonna make people realize that they made the right or wrong decision. So honestly, I feel like Genty's a good dude, man. And again, if it wasn't for Travis Hunter, he would probably be the Heisman winner. So I know I'm picking Penn State to win that game, but it would be cool to see him go off against a Big Ten team like that. That'd be dope.
Yeah, I don't really care, honestly, who wins that game, but I will just say this is going to be about as big of a test as Boise State could have possibly asked to face in taking on this Penn State front. Mm-hmm. So if he goes off against Penn State, then yeah, I mean, he is who we thought he was, which is just an absolute beast and stud. So, all right. Is that it? I think that's it. Cool. Scotty.
Squad.
Next time we're linked up at San Antonio.
It's crazy, dog. It's finally here, man. The bowl game's here.
What are you doing for Christmas?
Cooling it, bro. Just chilling. Watching some ball. How about you? You're going to be back with the fam, right?
Yeah, I'm heading back to the fam tonight. And then I'll be flying back out Thursday morning to meet up with y'all in San Antonio. There will be a show tomorrow. Scotty's going to take the day off, but RK should be doing something with me from San Antonio. We'll see what they get into out there. I'm sure he's going to link up with Neely soon as well. So,
hell yeah.
All righty, brother. Well, we'll talk to you soon. Chat. We'll talk to you tomorrow. But get excited. It's Christmas. It's a bowl week. Good vibes, man.
What a time to be alive.
See you guys tomorrow. Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.